Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Planning and Economic Development Committee to order, and the first order of business is roll call, please.
Mrs. Rue,
Here.
Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mrs. Burdick,
Here.
Mr. Curran,
Here.
Mr. Dibble,
Here.
Mr. Healy,
Here.
Mrs. Hopkins,
Here.
Mr. Ricky,
Here.
and Mr. Crandall. 9 members present.
Thank you. The next item is the approval of the minutes, and I'll entertain the motion of the May 19th minutes. Mr. Dibble makes the motion, and Mr. Barnes seconds it. Is there any further discussions on the minutes? If not, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. The next item is we have Rita Sobeck Lynch, Employment and Training Director, and she has sent us her monthly report. Rita, would you like to highlight anything for us today?
Actually, our front door traffic is increased almost twice as much as it was before. So we're spending a lot of time communicating with our customers, and so we're counting emails that we send out or that we receive that normally would have been a customer visit. We're sending out a lot of job leads. Every Monday, we have a job board, and now we actually type things out and post them there, and we actually have customers coming in the front door, and then we send these out to all of our people that are receiving service from us or looking for work, and it gives them the link that they just need to click on the link. And Lindsay, our job developer, has actually verified all of the job openings, so we know that it's not just something from Indeed. Under our Facebook data, we post a lot of jobs for businesses. And so one particular employee, we had over 70 shares of that. Of that, there were 12 applicants for the job, and I can't say they actually all came from there, but 72 shares, 12 applicants, no hire. None of them were qualified or appropriate for the job. So now we're posting it again. Let's see. When we get down to, or maybe back to unemployment, let's talk a little bit about that. Legislator Barnes asked last month, is there a list, or how do we know if employers have asked their employees to come back to work because they have jobs for them and they don't come back? There's no actual list for that. But what happens is that if you request that your employee return to work because there's work available to them and they refuse to return to work, you take your letter that you got from the Department of Labor and you notify the Department of Labor that you have made a job offer to this person and they refused it. And there are also people that are receiving unemployment, and if you've been on unemployment for 10 weeks and you get offered a job, maybe that's a little bit less than you were making before, you're really required to take that or risk losing your unemployment insurance benefits. So, and the good news on our front is that the Department of Labor is all coming back to work. About half of the workforce is coming back to the office next week, and they're going to resume their regular duties. They won't be working only on fraud or only on claims. They're going to go back to doing lots of other fun things that the DOL does for us. So that's very good news. In our summer youth employment program, we received, I think, 130 applications. 100 were eligible. 7 withdrew because they had jobs. So we were able to place 62 youth at work sites throughout the county. There are different 37 sites actually that will host the youth. We decided not to hire a youth counselor this year because we had so many qualified applicants and so many work sites. So we were able to hire 4 more youth. And so we're all just going to share the wealth of doing the program monitoring and watching the youth through that. So we felt that was more of a priority.
That's very interesting. Anybody have any questions for Rita? Yes, Mr. Healy?
Yes, thank you. Of course, you know, Rita, I thank you for continuing to report on the veterans and the services in your monthly report. As you know, veterans are very near and dear to my heart. Can you tell me in the public what kind of outreach you do to the veteran community to provide those services?
Well, Mike Hennessy is a really good resource, a referral resource for us, and we used to, but I'm not sure if we currently have information at the VA clinic in SIO. And we also have a veterans rep that will be coming back into our office once a week.
Okay. So you think maybe those services you provide might actually increase?
Hopefully, when he's back in the office and seeing his customers there, and that prevents them from having to go to Olean. So it's easier for them to reach us. So of the 5 veterans that we're working with, 4 are absolutely looking for work. We're working on resumes, interviewing skills, job leads, and then the other person is applying for SSI benefits, and we facilitate that. We do the initial referral and send the information to Directions in Independent Living, and they actually do the benefits advisement for them. And that's all free of charge.
Well, thank you for all your endeavors in that effort.
You're welcome.
Yes, Mr. Barnes.
Yes, Rita, you talked about youth employment. How about jobs for recent high school graduates, unskilled type jobs? Are they being filled? Or, I mean, for instance, a lot of the restaurants had difficulty hiring. Now, with these young people coming on, are they able to take some of these jobs if because other people won't come back off unemployment?
Yeah, I think the job market is very good for youth. I don't know how lucrative it is, but you don't
Well-
necessarily need to go to college to find a job. And we also have a work experience that goes year-round for youth 16 to 24. And we have been working with, I believe, Genesee Valley School, at least this year, to concentrate on those youth that are not attending college, to make our services available to them. We have a really good network with the guidance counselors there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Healy, or Mr. Fanton?
Yeah, this is the first year we've really had a trouble filling our summertime jobs, and we just filled the last 2 here a week or so ago. So it's been it's the first time we've ever had any issues. Normally we have a lot more names than what we have jobs, and
And you
This
hire
year-
college students, right?
well, between high school and college, or going to college, yes,
Okay.
yeah. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any more questions for Rita while she's here? If not, Rita, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
So next up, we have Keir Durham, Planning Director. We also have his monthly report sent to us. And Keir, I'll ask you to go over any highlights and open it up for questions.
Afternoon. Number of items. I'd handed out a handout in between sessions regarding a $15 a month internet law ruling. I wanted to follow up from last month when I had let you know that the state had suggested to the internet providers that they were going to have to start providing a low-income rate of $15 a month. The judge, a federal judge, ruled last week New York cannot require internet providers to offer broadband service for low-income customers for as little as $15 a month. And you have the article on your desk, and you're welcome to expect that they'll probably be appealed. So, other news, the county planning has been working with the town of Amity, Village of Belmont. We are in the final throes of the first phase, where we're giving them a strategic plan that will be provided to Alfred State College students for their work come August. And so they're getting their draft probably this week, and they will be finalizing that by the end of the month. And then they'll be taking off a little bit of time, the group, Town of Amity, Village of Belmont, because they'll be moving on to work with the Alfred State students later on. And they're also working on their local waterfront revitalization plan effort. So they've got a lot on their plate right now down here in the community. Similar with the town of Willing, been down there, we've done some brainstorming with them, prepping them for their local waterfront revitalization plan. And they are very interested in exploring their ability to determine what types of green energy projects and where those would be. And so we're starting that conversation also. And we're working with the town of Elmond to revise their zoning law and helping them get it reorganized and prepped so that they can take that to their attorney and their town board for possible review. The county planning board meets tonight. The note in there that the town of Alfred had a solar project, community solar project, that has been pulled. So really, it's just going to be a zoning amendment for the town of Rushford. It should be a short meeting. The last month, you approved an application for a hazard mitigation plan grant, and we have submitted the letter of intent for $150,000. We expect that to be approved. They make sure that you have a good chance, I guess. Wanted to notify Genesee River Wilds took last year off for their annual float. They moved the float from the first week of June to June 26th. It's a Saturday. And you don't have to float to enjoy the event this year for the first time ever. There's going to be an after the float party. It's going to be right down here at the Amity site. And from 1 to 5, they will be having food truck and live music and hopefully people having fun after the float. And anybody can come down there for that. And then next month, the consultant, Ingalls Planning, will be doing their road show for the local waterfront revitalization plan. They start on July 13th. All the meetings are either at 4 or 6:30. I'm going to quickly read off the order. July 13th starts in Willing and then moves up to Wellsville. July 14th is in Scioto and then moves up to Belmont Amity. July 20th, they will be in Angelica and then up to Belfast. And then July 21st, they'll be doing Canandaigua and then Hume Fillmore. So those are opportunities for especially those legislators who work with those communities that you might want to come on down to one or more of those sessions. So
Could you give us the times again?
4. So the first one is 4, and the follow-up meeting is at 6:30 each of those dates.
Okay, thank
And
you.
they're just basically working from south to north. So we'll be getting an official notice shortly, but I thought I'd get that out because that was just decided last week.
Okay.
So that's my report.
Does anyone have any other questions for Mr. Deeren while he's up here? Mr. Healy?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Durham, you know, the state forest that was planned on the Genesee River, which would have been the first state forest ever on a river in New York State, that was supposed to be along County Road 43 in the town of Angelica. That was canceled. That project, is that correct?
That was the state kind of took a little too long in their process, and the landowner couldn't wait for them any longer. And with COVID and everything going on, it didn't look like it was moving along, and so they got an offer they couldn't refuse and moved on. There is a new site down in the town of Willing
Well, that's what I was going to
that's
ask.
going to be a wildlife management area, and that was kind of kept under the blanket or wherever. We didn't know about that until last month, and apparently they've already put in a parking lot. So
Well, I'd heard the rumor of that fact that they had planned something similar down in the southern part of the county, but I didn't know exactly where or
on
when. So
it's right on-
that was going to be my.
it's on the
question.
western side of the river, town of Willing, and I believe it's down. Yep, on the Back River Road. I can't tell you exactly where, but it's
It's at the end. When you come up the Back River Road and the county road meet, it's back that way from the county road.
there you go.
Thank you.
Everybody else good? Have a nice month.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up, we have Gretchen Hansha, who's the Executive Director of the Greater Allegheny County Chamber. We also have her monthly report. Gretchen, is there anything you want to highlight? And then we'll open up for questions.
Okay, sure. Good afternoon, everyone. As I kind of highlight my report, our collaboration with Fresh Air Adventures is going well. We are now seeing the blogs that are put up on there. That partnership, and part of that is a writer that writes blogs for all the counties. We send them information, they put that up, so that's going on. And slowly but surely, we're getting our information up on their site. It won't be the full site, but it refers back to our site. But it is also opening up to a huge target for us. My husband and I went hiking in Letchworth State Park, and this map that is handed out to about 1 million visitors of Letchworth State Park now has the Fresh Air Adventures website, which we are now a part of, right on their map. So I can pass that around here too. So this really opened up a huge target for us, and we are getting requests already for travel guides from that website. So I'm pretty happy that we decided to move forward with this. And we are still getting accustomed to how they operate things, and we're building it together. So we're looking forward to next year too. So it's a good project. The next thing that we were happy to get the RFP finally from Matching Funds for I Love New York. It is for the second half a year minus the 20% from the beginning, and however their formulas work at the state. But basically, it's looking like we'll be getting about $28,000, and then the county matches it. At the beginning or end of last year, we went through and approved it, anticipating that maybe we would have some money coming in, that the grant would come in. So I know that it's under it, but we were able to move forward with it. Deb has signed the information. It has been sent in, and we should hear in a week or two and file the claim. So that's good news. Part of the report that I put in there is just kind of an overview, and I've not added that before, but it kind of talks a little bit, and we keep it in broad strokes when we're working with the state, so it gives us a little bit of flexibility within there. But we also talk about what we're doing as our regional efforts. So we will still be working with Chautauqua and Cattaraugus, but now we've expanded our collaborations with the new group, and we're going to call it AGLO instead of GLOW, because it's Allegheny, Genesee, Livingston, Orleans, and Wyoming County. So it's really a great collaboration. I've also added events that come and go, and they keep changing as mandates keep changing. We will be at the Cuba Dairy Days for a while. First time we get the Tourism Information Center, I gotta get that down, out, and the fair. So things are opening up. Things are looking good. I had to go through a time where, do I wear my mask? Do I don't wear my mask? It feels strange, but I keep it with me. It's kind of like a security, but we're happy to see things loosening up and see things start going back to, I guess we can't always say normal, but so anyway. So I just highlighted a few things. That's it.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
I want to go back to Fresh Air.
Okay.
How many counties are we are working with Fresh Air?
It's a GLOW, so it's Allegheny, Genesee, Livingston, Orleans, and Wyoming. So it's 5 counties.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're a part of the Western New York Tourism, and this is something new.
Right.
And we talked about how it made sense that we work with these others. Does New York State recognize that we really should probably be a part of this GLOW group?
They won't change it, but what we'll do is, for next year, we will put it into more of a different regional campaign and get their approval to move forward. And I don't think we'll have a problem with it, so.
Because we have a lot more in common with these, with this GLOW group.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I certainly agree. We should have been doing it a while ago. It's kind of a funny mix that we're in. You know, it's not that we haven't been working to make things happen, but it's, you know, we're a little bit different. We're not Chautauqua. So, but we certainly have things we can be doing together, but this makes more sense. So I'm excited about this collaboration.
Yeah, I think that's exciting too. Does anyone else have any questions for Gretchen while she's up? If not, thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. you want me to leave this to be passed around?
Sure. So next up, we have Craig Clark, Economic Development, Industrial Development Agency. He's also given us his monthly report. Craig, I'll let you do any highlights that you want and open up for questions.
Sure. Crossroads project is, if everybody's been out at the Crossroads, the travel center is doing very, very well. We actually are continuing to talk to our hotel developer, and I have a second hotel developer interested, so I'll be talking to him next week. Between one or two of them, hopefully we'll have announcement that something's going to move fairly quickly, but no guarantees. Still issues, I think, even though tourism is opening up, a lot of those hotel managers / owners are still trying to dig out of what happened for COVID. So if they're a bigger operator, they're having trouble getting out of debt. So I think it's an issue. But we've got another potential partner there. The Angel Fund continues to operate. We have a very good project, which hopefully we'll get to announce sometime this summer. We did another review of their P&L statement. It looks pretty good, and it'll be a good project we can build on throughout the region, not just one small project, but build upon it, and it's agriculture related. Any questions on those two?
So this is a business that you're talking,
It's a startup business,
A
yeah.
startup
I've
business.
actually been talking to them for almost 4 years, but the Angel Fund Board is also very excited about it, and we just have to figure out at this stage, I think, how to fund the startup of the operation, but it's based upon usually projects like this. Somebody comes with a great idea and doesn't know how to sell their product. The two principals in this have been selling this product for 30 years. So it's a little bit different, just figuring out how to start the actual baseline so we have enough product to sell, which is different. Because that's usually a problem with entrepreneurs, is they come to, well, it's a great idea, I'm solving a problem, but I don't know how to sell what I'm making. This is very different, so I think it'll be a big win. The business park, Ricky Kelborn had a nice event last week, and some of the folks here were there to introduce the business park owners to the Wellsville community, who they hadn't talked to. They had talked to most of those people already. We do have a couple of potential projects there. Another one actually came up this week. Hopefully we'll land one of those. We have one that we're a finalist with, an international company. It's interesting that they're taking way too long to make a decision, but it's their decision to make. So we're in the running, that's all I can tell you. And there is another announcement that may come out in the future too. What's interesting is Empire State Development is sending us a lot of leads. For the first 5 years I worked in this position, I think I may have gotten one lead from Empire State Development. I think I've gotten 5 in the last month.
well,
So-
that's a good trend.
And they're all good projects. What's interesting is a lot of those projects fit exactly to the Wellsville Park or the Tracewell building. It's like they're written for them, but we've got to get one of them signed. So, but it's interesting that there's movement. I know Invest Buffalo and Agro, which I'm on the board, will say the same thing. Right now there's actually interest, and people would say, why interested in New York State? Because we're still in the Northeast, we're still in that population base, and it does make sense. So they're talking to us anyways. Great Lakes Cheese, the last meeting, this is the first meeting we've had since they've decided not to go to the Crossroads. So obviously that's been in the paper. We've talked it a couple times about that not happening at the Crossroads. I just talked to them again this morning. Great Lakes Cheese, we're still working to manage them staying in the county and the region, and there's still potential for that. That's all I can say at this time. It's not as high a potential as the Crossroads site, because that was an ideal site from their perspective on infrastructure and location. But they haven't given up. It's just that right now they're on a delay, and they know that. Anything else on that project? Go ahead.
Good luck.
Well, we're working on it. I'm not giving up yet. And that was a good talk today with Great Lakes Cheese. So, clean energy projects. I know we always talk about this. I just want to summarize it a little bit differently maybe this time. Is right now the Alley Cat Wind project is still going to go forward. They're talking about later this year or early spring. So we'll be closing sometime on that project in the near future. I know they've been down talking to the county about roads and other things, so that is moving forward. The Marine Solar Project, the large solar project in Burns, will be moving forward because they also now have a contract to sell their power. So those are two big projects that will happen. Both fairly large projects that will put a lot of people to work, maybe temporarily, but they're still jobs. And then the 13 small solar projects, just so you know, we closed on 7 of those, which means we signed the paperwork last year. And we'll close on there's another 7 this year. And the ones last year, I just added them up because I had to make a report, are worth about $40 million total, just the 7 we closed last year. And this year will be another $40 million plus. Again, mostly small as far as impact, but there's still impact. Most of those projects take 3 to 5 months of labor and up to 50 people. So there is some impact that's positive, as well as the fact that the towns get a host community agreement in the pilot we get for the county and all the communities, that the taxing authorities, and there's nothing taken off the tax rolls. In other words, they actually pay higher property taxes plus the pilot. So there's a positive impact there. Any questions on the clean energy projects? And you'll see more of those. I think the board will get more at Allegheny County IDA. We just had one in Cuba finalized this last week.
Mr. Harris, you have a question?
Yes.
Yeah, just, you've been in conversation with the company with potential in Alfred.
I have had, they contacted you way up front as letting people know that that was a project. They've only contacted me one other time since then. And once they can, they're in Canada, once they can get to the US, I know they're going to sit down and talk to us, because the new 94C has some requirements on how to work with the communities besides what they're already doing, so investment in things. And so hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be able to talk in person.
Thank you.
The microenterprise grant is going very, very well. I want to thank Terry for continuing to pass on those dollars that we've passed out to people, and it's making some impact. And we're still convinced, I know Department of State says we should put in, and we will hopefully get another go-round of that, because the $170,000 we're giving out is having some impact on those 6 businesses. What's interesting, and Judy can mention that, because the board review, we reviewed all these grants and proposals, which are really business plans. And obviously, we're helping people that sometimes cannot find the credit, which is a good thing to do, because that's the problem with some startup businesses. They really aren't credit worthy at this stage. And then we're also helping a lot of companies that are credit worthy, but obviously getting a grant of $30,000 is a really good kickoff to making sure the business will be successful. So I think both sets of companies that are either expanding or newer is going to make a big difference, because they won't have to be in that full debt when they start, which will make a big difference. That's the only thing I have, except for I know the Startup Allegheny Group is moving forward again. Last year we had 2 events with the 3 colleges students from all 3 colleges. The goal is to get them engaged in the county and stay here. And we're going to do that again this next year, hopefully all in person, because last time they had all be Zoom meetings, which wasn't quite the same, especially with a bunch of college-age students. So we're excited about that, because that's the goal, is to continue to build entrepreneurship and also to build that relationship so students think first about staying here in the county. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Does anyone have any other questions for Mr. Clark? Okay, if not,
Got any answers? I need answers once in a while, too.
thank
Other than
you,
that,
Craig.
Thank you.
So the next item we do have a renewal of the Alfred State contract. So we're requesting a resolution to approve the 1-year renewal of an agreement with the State University of New York College of Technology at Alfred to provide assistance for the development and implementation of an economic and industrial development program for Allegheny County, with an emphasis on attracting new businesses and industries to locate within the county and promoting the expansion of existing businesses and industries. And I will entertain a motion to, Mr. Barnes makes the motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Curran makes a second. Do we have any further discussion on this contract? If not, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
Opposed.
Is that two, Bill? Opposed?
I am. I think we need to discuss this
Okay.
as we did this morning in detail.
The motion has passed. Thank you. So do we have anything for old business today? Mr. Dibble?
Yeah, thank you. Put my Allegheny Trails Inc. hat on for a minute. The 6-town, 3-village national scenic byway project moving forward. That's getting off the expressway traveling across the county. Along with that thing is the 1810 Turnpike Road. We talked about it a while back, and the first sign says behind Dave Decker over here, it's moving forward. And it's a good project. People off the expressway to visit our county, maybe they'll stay and come back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anything else for old business? Do we have anything else for new business? Do we have anything for the good of the order? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Mr. Dibble makes the motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Hopkins seconds it. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye.